There are a lot of things that Destiny players do or use that'll make their contest clear a lot longer than it should be. If you follow these tips, it should be able to reduce your contest clear by a substantial amount of time. Tip number 1, when entering a raid and each subsequent encounter, you want to use a loadout that keeps you alive and isn't focused on boss damage. Your first goal is to figure out mechanics, so there's no need to have Queenbreaker locked in at the start when you're not even capable of doing DPS of the boss yet. You want to use LMGs or maybe some explosive light rockets or GLs to deal with the adds and major stopping you from testing out mechanics. Then when you reach DPS in the boss encounter, that's when you switch to the Queenbreaker or whatever heavy DPS you're using once you have the routine of the encounter down. Then in the same vein of learning the mechanics raid, you need to trust your team's ideas. There are 6 people in a fire team and someone is bound to have a crackpot theory that just might be the right one. If you overrule their ideas because it might sound stupid, the feeling of their idea being correct but you potentially wasted hours trying other ones, that feeling of misery is just absolutely disastrous. When it comes to concocting a loadout for various needs of encounters, you need to remember that double special is almost always the answer. Everyone in the endgame knows that primaries aren't that strong to be useful in the current sandbox. Some people might have their favorites, but reality, special weapons just do it better. So when deciding what specials to use, remember they should either be for ad killing or major busting, because you're really not going to use them for boss, and if you are, you'll switch to a separate loadout for it. Most people would use rocket sidearms or area denial GLs, but those are bugged right now with how much ammo they get, so while they're still probably the best picks, it might be good to look at some alternatives like the new rocket frame pulse or the chill clip fusion rifles. Then if you're not on prismatic and don't need to worry about farming darkness transcendence, obviously the kinetic tremor snipers is always a go-to pick. And when it comes to the stats of your loadout, weapons is going to be the most important. We thought it was going to be the best before, but with the large ammo brick chance getting increased over 200 and how bad the ammo generation system is now, it's just basically mandatory. So you would want to focus weapons and then whatever you're doing. So I'm doing a lightning surge build, and so I'm focusing weapons and melee. And I'll go more in depth into the ammo changes later in the video. Surely in the year 2025, we all know we should be doing loadout swapping, right? You gotta have 2 loadouts. One for doing mechanics and survivability, then the other for boss DPS and maximizing your damage. So on pre-DPS, you're gonna wanna focus on stuff like orb mods, so you can get health, more abilities, and then you'll have your armor charge ready for when you're switching to your DPS loadout. Alternatively, the new font mods are really strong with the new stats. If you're not worried about survivability too much, it might be worth investing in font mods everywhere, as they can really boost your offensive output. Then back to the DPS loadout, naturally you're going to want 3 surges with time dilation to maximize your damage output, and then you could add some bonuses if you want, like loaders, dexterities, and if it's really getting crazy, targeting and unflinching to deal with the boss and whatnot shooting at you. But now it's time to resume the ammo conversation. There's one thing someone can do in a fire team that is the utmost importance: ammo generation. The fire team will expend ammo very regularly, as each boss will take 3 phases of dumping everything they got to beat it. If we're lucky and we get an encounter with the best case scenario, one player will cenotaph, will mark a target that another player with Aeons on Sect of Insight will finish, and that marked target when finished will grant the 4 players on the fire team max ammo while the other 2 get each other's. However, not every encounter is like that. Think of the Witness encounter where the subjugators can only be cenotaphed and can't be finishered. That means ammo will be more scarce, and you're going to want to have 2 cenotaphs so that the cenotaph user itself can get heavy from the other cenotaph user. However, if you don't have another warlock or it just doesn't work out, your cenotaph warlock should be on full support. This player should be on full support with things like Tractor and Slice, and maybe Song of Flame, so that during DPS, this is their main rotation. With the new ammo meter changes, we lost scout mods, so teammates no longer have the opportunity to get heavy ammo when you make some yourself. So if there's not enough kills to go around for everyone, the only other ammo generation thing is the poo-poo Alethanim. Nobody likes using this gun, but it's gonna be the only way to get ammo for everyone. And as ammo generation is the most important role someone can fill, it needed its own point, but there are important roles also. There are other valuable roles that individuals on the fire team can take on. As long as you're not completely spread apart, it's good to have one support player. They can be on healing auto or navigator just to keep everyone alive. Giving your teammates that level of sustain is especially useful if they're doing a weaponless mechanic role. For example, think how in Prophecy when you pick up motes, you're stuck holding the big mote. As a support, if you can keep them alive if they need to do something that wasn't as simple as, dunking on the thing that's right next to everyone, you could save their life when they're doing it. However, it's not always up to the support to keep you alive if you are someone who assigns themselves to the role of doing mechanics. If you're that role, you could have something like Spirit of the Assassin or just be a Void Hunter and go invisible before picking up whatever relic is present, and then you'll be invisible while you run to the objective. Then getting our focus back onto the encounter themselves, if there's an enemy that you can't instantly kill for whatever reason, or need to wait for some mechanic to deal with it, but they are still present in the arena, try these strategies out. If there's something like the Vogue Gatekeeper challenge where you're either late running the relic doing it normally or cheesing it, you can either blind the Minotaur or freeze it to keep it in place and it won't move forward. Doing so, you can either push the enemy off the map or just simply delay it. Our current meta has power crept the need for blinding jails in the neutral game, but there's some very valuable use cases for them still. Then if it's a situation like Herald in Salvation's Edge where when you stepped into the arena and got fried instantly, having someone block with the sword on Stronghold especially can protect you guys, taking the enemy's aggro while the team can, destroy the blights and pop his head. So that's another good strategy to keep in mind. Now it's time for the big 3 tips. When dealing with the boss, it is vital to be able to survive the damage phase to be able to deal DPS to it in the first place. If a boss is frying the fire team, there are a couple strategies to either reduce their damage or prevent it entirely. Most people know that there should be a slice or some kind of sever on the boss so it does less damage to the team. So someone like the support warlock who's using Song of Flame and Tractor should have a slice weapon on to protect everybody. Also, an important service announcement, there is another valuable way to get sever in Facet of Solitude, but sometimes the Severing Blast will sever your teammates so they do less damage. So I would just not touch it because I doubt Bungie fixed this. Although that support Morlock might have to go crazy using Song of Flame and Helion and Ember of Ashes so that the Scorch from constant snap melees and Helion will ignite the boss, staggering it over and over again. In the Spire of the Watcher speedrun I did, we would stun lock the boss like crazy with ignitions, which allowed us to be right on top of him to do damage, and he couldn't really do anything about it. The Helion and the consistent snap melees would ignite the boss and cause him to stagger over and over, therefore keeping him in one spot and he is not able to massacre the fire team as well. There's also a not too well-known aspect of how bosses in this game are coded. There are 3 types of bosses: regular ones, proxy bosses, and the big models. Aegis was telling Mr. Waffles about this the other day, but if you see that there is multiple bosses on one health bar, it's probably a proxy boss. Remember from Sundered how the lock set couldn't be debuffed easily or critted? That's because it's a proxy boss. We now know something like Anarchy is really strong on them because it's able to attack all of them at the same time. However, you have to remember the flaws in how you can only do body shot damage to them, and if I recall correctly, the only way to debuff a proxy boss is using specifically Echo of Undermining's Weaken. So you need to plan your loadout according to which type of boss it is. Then for the big one, boss damage. The offensive aspect of boss damage, it's actually a lot of overlap with boss survival because this game is goofy. Naturally, Well of Radiance is vital for both survival and doing damage with the Radiant it gives everyone. Then if the well runs out or there's another Warlock on the team, they should be on Song of Flame to give everyone the damage resistance and bonus ability regen if they're using something like Bolt Charge Titan. Then there's an important note here. If you're using Prismatic Song of Flame, the Faceted Dawn fragment only applies to you and not teammates, so that's important to keep in mind. So if you want to be a team player, it's especially good to use Song of Flame on Solar so that you can use stuff like Ember of Ashes and also Ember of Torches to give everyone Radiant if the well runs out. Then when it comes to the damage for all 3 classes, Warlocks should have been using Boots of the Assembler, but of course it's broken, so we're still going to be doing Sanguine. But it's good to have a Sanguine loadout that you can pop 10 seconds early to cheese the lockout that they just implemented. Then for Titans, the Bolt Charge Barricade, while not as potent as they were last season with the artifact, are still free bonus damage for the entire fire team, and you're not losing access to the best super in the game. So if you either super at the beginning or end of DPS, you can make a quick swap between them so that you can have Crest of Alpha Lupi during the main part so that you can have more barricades and heal everyone behind them. Then Hunters, you already know the drill, Nighthawk. It's just as simple as that. Then for weapons, Queenbreaker and Lord of Wolves both got hit, but Lord of Wolves got hit especially hard. It lost half of its reserves. I don't even have it on my character anymore, but Queenbreaker only lost 6 shots. This is still going to be a very good option on crit bosses. And we all know that somehow holding mouse 1 is always more viable than an actual damage rotation, but Hezen should be good if it's a rocket damageable boss. Then when it comes to the other niche use cases for bosses, Anarchy again if it's a proxy boss and you can stick it to all of them at once. Grand Overture especially for a non-crit boss, but if it's a really long damage phase, this is one of the best total damage exotics out there. Then you guys already know Parasite. If it's like a 1-second damage phase like Atrax, Parasite's going to be easily the best. Then when it comes to up close, you would think Legend of Actors would be good, but if you have an Ergo Sum with Wolfpack rounds, The Gold Tusk is actually one of the best options because Aegis said that these are the most consistent against stomps. You would want Relentless and Whirlwind so that you could keep increasing your total damage with more ammo, and Whirlwind stacks instantly with Ergo Sum to 10, so it's not even a factor to worry about. So Gold Tusk is the sleeper pick of the video. If you learned anything, make sure to subscribe. If you enjoyed that video and want to see me live where we make these videos and do other fun stuff with chat, go follow my Twitch, SirSpade4. If not, click here to watch another all-star comedy video from me. I know you'll enjoy it.